You're listening to Design Between the Lines, the only design and home furnishings podcast where we talk with the movers and shakers, industry innovators, and lifetime legends of the home furnishings industry. It's here that I get a chance to sit and chat with the influencers shaping the industry into what it is today. Both a seasoned designer and an exceptional businessman, Michael Amini has led a vast career demonstrating an incontrovertible passion for the world of fashion, design, and innovation. He is the founder, chairman, and CEO of the renowned Amini Innovation Corporation, as well as the president of the American Furniture Hall of Fame. His collections include collaborations with illustrious women in this industry such as Jane Seymour and Kathy Ireland. He has received countless accolades, such as the International Home Furnishings Representatives Association's Pillar of the Industry Award, Furniture Today's Furniture Supplier of the Year Award, and his expansive portfolio doesn't just stop at design. He has also been honored with the City of Hope's Lifetime Achievement Award, the Anti-Defamation League's prestigious American Heritage Award, for his incredible humanitarian and philanthropic endeavors. We join Michael today in the AICO showroom at High Point Market. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, John.
I want to start, and I'm going to take you way back. And when you were a younger fella and you were growing up, tell me about things that you found yourself being attracted to all things design as you grew, and then developed your career later on. What turned you on about design?
You know, I've said to my friends, sometimes I feel like I should have been born 500 years ago in Palace of Versailles in France. Somehow I was always been attracted to luxury and luxurious stuff. And from right the beginning, I wanted to dress differently, to look different, to act different. I used to watch different shows that my classmates used to watch. And when I was 6 years old, I was a child fashion model.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Wow, there we go. A revelation on our show right here. That's great.
So I think the seed for fashion and fashion design and generally to being in fashion business was planted in me since very early days. So when I was 14 years old, I told my father one day, I do not want to go and shop with you for my clothes. I want to go buy fabric, and I want to go to a tailor and have him to make my own clothes.
Wow. And
he agreed. So my father took me to his tailor because old times, you know.
That's right.
They used to go to tailors.
Yeah.
And I told the tailor exactly how I want my suit to look like. And he told me, where do you get all these imaginations from?
Good question, I'm sure.
Yes.
What was your answer then?
Well, I used to watch a lot of television shows, French movies. I remember the early days, I used to watch Saint with Roger Moore.
Oh, I love that show.
And yes, I wanted to be him. I wanted to drive a nice car, to wear the sport jackets he used to wear, and to look like him, and to have the kind of women he had in the
Absolutely.
shows.
Absolutely. I think I'm totally with you on that. That's great. My gosh.
So that's exactly, how everything started.
Oh, that is wonderful. Well, as you moved along, I noticed in your bio that I was reading that you decided to leave home and start traveling, and you had a lot of valuable things that you learned and incorporated into your design mindset as you traveled. Can you tell me a little bit about your travelings in younger days?
Yes, when I was 16 years old, my father told me, if you get good grades, I will send you wherever you want to go and travel for a little while. And I got the good grades, and I said I want to go to London and Paris. So when I was 16, I went to London and Paris. And it was one of the best times of my life because I got some money from my father, and you wouldn't believe it, I spent 75% of my time shopping.
Wow.
And I hear that men or boys, they don't like shopping. Well, I still love shopping.
That's good. That's good. Which I think indicates your eye for design, your eye for all things of luxury and of great taste. You have an educated eye, and
Well,
that's what you were doing.
I didn't have a lot of money though,
Well.
so I did a lot of window shopping to begin with. But I ended up, buying some clothes for myself, look around. That's for the first time I went in Paris and visited the Versailles Palace.
Oh,
And
that's a beautiful place.
exactly. And palace after palace, Kensington Palace, and, different historical places in London and Paris. It transformed me. When I came back, I told my father I want to go abroad for education.
Mm-hmm.
And I finished high school, and I wanted to go and check out Europe and see what is going on there.
Mm.
So I started traveling from very early age.
Mm-hmm.
And I was fortunate enough. My father supported me and gave me the money, gave me the means, gave me the support, and I ended up visiting a lot of countries. I take a train, I get off any place I want to, I stay for a few days, I get back to the train station and travel again. So that truly made who I am today. The eye that I developed
Mm-hmm.
for nice stuff, whether it's clothing, furniture, artifacts, paintings, and anything that, develops a person's taste level,
Mm-hmm.
was planted in me at that time. And that went on, and I am who I am today. And I'm in a time of my life that I feel everything that I've learned, I would like to execute it in whatever I make. And I want to bring it to the market and offer it to the people of the world.
You mentioned your dad's support and your father's support. Would you say he was kind of one of your early mentors, a supporter of you in your endeavors? Did you have any other mentors along the way as you grew up and eventually started to develop this wonderful career? Were there other mentors you look up to?
Yes. Both my parents, of course, were very supportive.
Mm-hmm.
And, my mother has an immaculate taste. She always, liked nice stuff and nice clothes. She used to make clothes for herself. But I had an auntie that she was a very high caliber tailor. As a matter of fact, as you might know, I came from Iran.
Mm-hmm.
And my auntie was had a studio, a tailor shop,
Mm-hmm.
for all the major generals and wealthy people,
Mm-hmm.
and they used to make dresses with her partner.
Ah.
And they're the one that basically saw and developed the gown for the Queen of Iran at the time of the crowning of the Shah of Iran.
This was the show,
This
the
was
one we know.
yes, long time ago.
Mhm.
And I used to sit with her when I was a little kid, and I used to watch her, to needle all the blingy stuff on the clothes.
How
and,
fine a work that was. I mean, that's remarkable.
it was incredible.
Hmm.
And I wanted to learn how to sew. I know how to sew. since that time, I remember she used to say, well, my eye cannot see as good as yours, so can you put this thread through the needle?
Oh, this is good. Oh, good.
So I used to do that for her.
Well, that's another major mentor and a mover in your life. That's wonderful to hear that. Wonderful to hear that. Were there others along the way that you might remember?
Well, I don't remember off the top of my head, but I've been very fortunate that, along the way, as I have grown up, I have learned so much from so many people. My mother's family, they were all business people, and they were all, very professional, big, named, famous textile merchants and, drapery and so on. And, when I was a little child, I used to go with my father, and my father was a wonderful merchant. He used to be in textile business, and he also used to be in medical equipment business. And
there's two ends of the spectrum.
Exactly. Very diversified.
Yes.
So I would say I've learned business from my father and being around my father's business. So the eye for fashion and learning about how to do business is a pretty good combination that can lead you through life to where I have ended up, and I consider myself very fortunate.
Well, now you're onward from establishing yourself and getting some momentum going, and with your mentors and your supporters and your wonderful family and your mom and your dad, and you started your education. Tell me a little bit about your education.
Well, I moved from Europe to United States, and I ended up in Roanoke.
Oh, of course. Everyone goes to Roanoke when they... Okay.
In the beginning, it was pretty difficult because I moved from London to Roanoke. I landed in Roanoke, and I remember I was shocked because I was asking everybody, how come there's nobody in the streets here? There's nobody walking the sidewalks. That was my first trip to United States.
Oh, my gosh.
And I went to school there. I started my education in Virginia Western Community College, which I visited a few months ago, and they called me professor. I wasn't a professor.
But you loved it. I would have loved it. That's great.
I guess I look like one.
Yeah, that's good.
And I took some classes there, and it was pretty difficult for me to live, as a young man in a very quiet city, especially after moving from my home country of Tehran with 15 million people to London, Paris, Germany. I lived in a lot of countries at that time, to Roanoke. So I picked up I got in my car one day and I drove to Los Angeles, and I started my education in Los Angeles, going to...
What triggered your, I want to go to the West Coast? I mean, just one day you said, there's something happening out there in Hollywood and LA. I need to go out and be a part of it. Is that what?
Well, Hollywood is the one that basically attracted me.
There you go. Okay.
I knew there got to be more things happening in Los Angeles than Roanoke.
We share something in common. I grew up in the LA area, so I would be the first guy to say, absolutely, go on out there. Well, what did you find when you got there?
Well, it was still not what I was used to, but it didn't take me too long to really get used to it and start loving it. And now I think LA is one of the best places to live, and I love living there. But I went to school and I graduated in electrical engineering. With emphasis in electronics. And I looked for a job for a while, and I found a job to utilize my degree. When I worked for about a year, I knew at that time it's really not for me.
Mm.
Already spent 4 years of my life getting a engineering degree, and I was looking to see if I can find something to do. And I'm sure there are a lot of young people that in the beginning they're confused about what they really want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I had an old friend that was educated in Italy, and I contacted him, and we decided to go into a fashion business together. And we started developing clothing and shoes. So I traveled to Italy, and we came up with a lot of clothing and shoes, and imported it to Los Angeles, and I was supposed to go sell it.
Mm-hmm.
So they were expensive. So I figured the only place I can go and start selling these are in Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills, Neiman Marcus, Nordstrom's, and it wasn't too long before I find out they're not gonna buy from me. I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't have all those colorful offices and big bank accounts, and I did that for a while, and it didn't work out. And I go from company to company. I went to car business, trying to import cars and many things.
Mm-hmm. Trying things out, see what fits, right?
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, I ended up as a salesperson in a local furniture manufacturing. And I have to tell you, my mother really forced me to go find a real job that I can make real money.
Does sound like a mother statement.
Yes.
Yep.
And I was saying to myself, I don't know nothing about furniture. But when I started my job, which it was a challenge by itself, because the owner, I remember when he was interviewing me, asked me, "What do you know about furniture?" I said, "Nothing." He said, "What are you doing in here?" I said, "Are you looking for a salesman, or are you looking for a technician?" "Salesman." I said, "I'm salesman. I can sell anything." And I knew I can sell because since I was a little boy, I used to run around in my father's business, and I remember I used to ask him, "Can I go talk to this customer or that customer?" So I knew how to handle sales. He said, "We'll come back tomorrow and I'll let you know if I want to hire you." I said, "Listen, hire me for a couple of months. If you think I can't sell, keep me. If not, you can fire me anytime." He said, "Okay." Next day when I went back, he hired me. And I wanted to prove to myself that I can do this, just for my own sort of ego.
Yeah.
Simply because I did a lot of things and it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really thirsty for something to do. And I remember I worked there for a couple of months, and the company was big. The factory was huge, but they had very little sales, simply because they were selling furniture from 20 years ago. Any store I went, anyone I talked to, they said, "This is a good factory, but boy, they're selling something that they used to sell forever." So I came back and talked to the owner, and I said, "Why don't I try to come up with some designs for you?" And he agreed. Again, this was something that I wanted to prove myself I can do.
Mm-hmm.
So I went around, I looked at a lot of things, I did a lot of window shopping, visited a lot of places, and came up with a bedroom. And I feel that what I came up with was so right and so different than what he had that I loved it myself.
Mm-hmm.
He agreed to build it. And to make the long story short,
Mm-hmm.
when they came up with it, in one day, I remember the first day that I went out there with a picture of that bedroom, I sold 52 sets. Now, I was just selling to mom and pop stores. And everybody was very excited. I was very excited. You know, he gave me budget to go show in Long Beach in, you know, I remember Larry Carroll had a couple of shows at that time. And I went, and it was overly successful. And when I worked there for a few months, I heard about a show in Taiwan. And I wanted to go to Taiwan. So in one of these shows, I remember I met another lady that was importing occasional tables from Taiwan. And I went and got her line. And when she was going to Taiwan for the show, I asked her if I can go with her. And she said, fine. And when I came back and talked to my boss at that time, he said, no, it's November, because it was November. You know, it's best time of the year. You can't go. I said, well, you know, I really have to go because I want to know what's going on. I can bring more designs for you. He disagreed, and I was determined to go, so I left. When I came back, he fired me. And that was the beginning of AICO. I said, I want to come up with my own company. And I registered AICO November of 1988, right after I came back from Taiwan.
You knew it then.
And my first container arrived in end of 1989, after riding back and forth to all the things that I saw there and all the people that I met. And that's how I started AICO, with just a couple of occasional tables. And it was me, one person in the office, and I used to go sell it. I used to come and deliver it, and I used to do the invoicing.
A lot of hats, right? That's how it works when you start like that.
That's exactly right.
Oh my gosh. Well, the hats wore well. The hair looks great, so there weren't too much pressure up there. Well, that kind of brings me to, you started the company. I want to hear a little bit more about the development from just bringing in occasional tables from Taiwan to kind of where you are most recently. And when you're bringing me up to speed on this, could you just kind of fill me in a little bit about what's quintessentially Michael Amini's style? You know, how has that developed over these years since 1988?
Well, you know, occasional tables started growing to chairs. From chairs, I added dining tables. From dining tables, we added china buffet, sideboards, and more coffee tables, and then to bedroom. And it grew from 1 bedroom to 5 bedroom, from 5 bedroom to 8 bedroom, from 8 bedroom to today's about 50 bedrooms and dining rooms, occasional tables, and complete home furnishing, including top of bed, lighting, rug, throws, wall art, and wallpapers, flooring, and
so give you an empty house, you're going to make it a home.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's wonderful.
I do some interior design work right now, once in a while when I have time, because the biggest challenge I have right now is time. God has been nice to me, has given me everything except more than 24 hours a day.
Unfortunately, none of us quite can change that, right?
Stretch it.
You'd like to, though, right?
Exactly, yeah. Everybody asks me, how do you do all these things that you do? I say, well, you can only chop off from sleeping time, because I can't stretch it more than 24 hours. And, you know, I am so happy that we are in every segment of home furnishing and office furniture. Home office is part of it, and we are also a little bit into commercial office, and hopefully, when I have 28 hours a day, then I can expand it to complete commercial office systems.
I'm guessing too that maybe on occasion, because you have beautiful lines here, that you would be outfitting some boutique hotels and other. Are you getting some business from that sector as well?
I would love to, but one of my passions are fashion. I have great passion for coming up with clothing for men, women, shoes, and things that I started with. I just love to do it, and I really wished I had a little more time. I design jewelry sometimes. Anything that makes people happy.
Is this ring on your finger a
this
design
is
of yours?
actually that's not my design. This is actually a beautiful Cartier ring that I love. It's a
gorgeous.
Panther. Yeah, but I have designed a lot of jewelry. I love jewelry, and anything that beautifies people, I love.
Well, that brings me to a question about your. You've had recent great successes with two wonderful women in the industry, with Kathy, and I just wondered, where are you headed next? What do you see as the trend in the industry? I see a lot more interior designers in and around this market this time. I guess that's pushing a better look in the industry. Is that what you see?
Yes. People are really getting it in terms of how much interior designers can help to transform their homes.
Mm-hmm.
We are all busy people. Everybody's, a lot of problems, regular everyday problems.
Oh, yeah.
And the last thing certain people think of is, what do I do to my home? Our homes are sanctuary. We do all of our work. We come back from a frustrated day to our home, and everyone want to be comfortable and relaxed at home. And after all, while we spend a lot of time outside, we spend a lot of time inside.
Mm-hmm.
So I think everybody's home needs to be where not only they come home to relax, but they come home to entertain and to be proud of, when they bring their friends and family and, celebrations.
Mm-hmm. A place to be happy.
Absolutely, yes. What we have done here in AICO, we have solved some of that problem, because not everyone can afford a professional interior designer.
Mm-hmm.
So we have put a lifestyle together, and everything that goes with everything coordinates, correlates, or matches. Basically, that's the term is mostly being used, but we're trying to transform that to correlating, coordinating rather than matching here.
Okay.
And we put these lifestyle together, and our customers come here and buy it the way it is. Most of them, they realize that takes time.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you have buyer for different segments of home furnishing, it takes time to go find the right thing. So because we have all these different elements for the home furnishing, we put them together, they buy them, and they offer them to their customers, so they don't have to if they can't afford a professional interior designers. But we have a lot of wonderful designers that they come through, and we do business with a lot of them, and we are very happy that they find our line to be what they're looking for.
Well, so you've got a great firm, great organization. You've been honored many times for your foresight in the industry, and truthfully, your ability to put together a team and motivate that team, and compliments to you for that. Let me ask you, what's new for you? What's new for Michael? What's coming down the road soon? Can you give us any hints?
Well,
besides probably a movie? I'm just guessing here. You're in Hollywood now.
I have asked Jane Seymour, how do I become James Bond?
Yeah, this is possible. This could be done. I love the photos. I remember that.
Thank you.
Well, what's coming down the road? More of the wonderful things you've introduced. Is this market a very good success, I understand, for you all?
Yes, this market we came up with a very modern, transitional line with Jane Seymour, which has been very, very successful. And this is basically combination of the elements of traditional, but in a very modern way. You know, I feel life has become so complicated. You know, as we step forward and have more technology, it seems like our lives become a little bit more complicated than, you know, simpler.
You're totally
we have become
right.
so globalized. We know about everything that happens in the world. And, you know, we are basically imposed upon with all the news that happens around us. So people want to live a little bit less fussy, a little bit simpler, with simpler line, not with the elements of old world traditional. And that's what we have come up with this market with Jane. And it has been really a breath of fresh air.
Wonderful.
And everybody loves it. At the same time, last market with Kathy Ireland, which I truly admire her way of living, because she's so devoted to the young people, to her community. And she has great followers, social media followers, and she knows exactly what she wants. For the first time, we came up with very casual, because we were a very formal creator of formal furniture. Very casual, rustic, urban, small size, and very affordable furniture. And that was more than 250 pieces. This market, we have over 100 pieces. So within the last 6 months, I have worked close to 400 or 500 pieces of furniture, which most of them, you know, some of them are going to come to our next Las Vegas market.
Oh, good. That's
and
great.
that was also very successful. So we are very happy in the company, and we are going to continue to come up with niches that doesn't exist, with creative furniture and designs, and furniture that you know, solve people's today's problems in terms of plugging your phone. You know, we have motion detectors under nightstands, so when you get off bed at night, it lights up, and you know, chargers and plugs that is worked into the furniture, and newer technologies that we're working on, and I'm not going to talk to you about
with
it.
With your electrical engineering background, I can't believe you're not going to have every single thing that you could possibly help the individual.
I try.
Well, that's good. Well, speaking of Kathy's involvement with the youth, I'm going to ask you for a moment, because we have a lot of young listeners, a lot of listeners that are young professionals. Some, I'm sure, as they listen to this, are in the middle of deciding what direction they want to go with their lives. We've talked a lot about design and your what inspired you to become what you are today. Do you have any advice for these young people in their search for a direction in the design sense?
Yes. You know, I have 2 boys that, you know, they're 18 and 21, and they are in the same process of mind that I was. What do I want to do? What do I want to become? And of course I support them to whatever they want to be and whatever they want to become. What I normally have talked in different shows and to different people and different younger people is, first you have to find out where your passion is. What do you like? What are you imagining about will fit your personality? Once you find that, and you might be hesitated, but as long as you know 1 or 2 direction that you have, grab onto it, work on it very hard, but work on it very smart. You have to be determined that you're going to get there. With determination and passion that you develop to get there, you will get there. If you fall, don't be afraid. Get up, keep your eyes on the goal, and move forward. You will be successful.
Michael, you are the personification of that kind of effort, and I thank you for being with us today. Thank you for sharing your time and your thoughts and a little bit of your life with our listeners.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, John.
Thanks. Design Between the Lines is produced by Element Studio with the American Society of Furniture Designers. We're recorded in High Point, North Carolina. To find videos of these podcasts, be sure to subscribe to the American Society of Furniture Designers YouTube channel. To learn more about ASFD, visit asfd.com. And don't forget to subscribe to hear more industry stories of design between the lines.